All right, well, I'm going to assume that everybody who's here is coming here, or everybody's coming is here. Again, my name is Sandie Sweet. I'm a registered dietitian. I have been a part of the Y for a long, long time, probably decades now, I guess, doing things like this and different talks and different things on nutrition. I used to teach, Highmark used to have a program like Drop 10 and 10 and Wise Way to Healthy Eating, and I used to teach those. I used to do nutrition coaching at once upon a time here. But anyway, I'm back here again to talk about vitamins and minerals. And vitamins and minerals are found in nature. They're found in the things we eat, plants, animals. They're found in the soil. They're found in the water. So vitamins and minerals are found all throughout nature, and they're coursing through your body right now, doing all kinds of functions. So many different functions, everything from building up bones to making your heart beat, to making your muscles move, to, oh my goodness, there's just so many, making your blood form. There's so many different things that vitamins and minerals do, and there's so many different ones that we have. So it always makes the question, like, do I need a supplement? Am I getting enough? So as a dietitian, I always recommend people try to get their vitamins and minerals from food. It really is the best place, because we don't just eat vitamin C and we don't just eat folic acid. We're eating it in combination with things. So for example, when you drink a glass of orange juice, you're not just drinking vitamin C, you're also getting folate, you're getting potassium. So you get a lot of things when you consume foods, and you get a lot of different vitamins and minerals. So it's really, and they all work together sometimes to help each other, absorb each other. So definitely, we always want to try to primarily have a good, well-balanced diet. Plenty of protein, plenty of fruits and vegetables. These are going to be really the things that are going to give us the most variety and the most possibility to have all the vitamins and minerals that we need. But there are supplements out there, and a lot of supplements that you will see. If you walk down the supplement aisle, you'll see so many supplements that will make claims like, you know, boost your memory, or give you more energy, or heals like arthritis. You know, you'll see all these claims that these certain supplements and things will make. And, you know, in some ways they're true. For some things, like, for example, it boosts memory, and it might have like vitamin B in it, and vitamin, you know, one component of helping you have a healthy memory or something that your brain needs for function. And they just they can get away with it because the claims are very weak, but they can still say it because it has a role in, say, brain memory, you know, in brain function. One of the ones that, for example, there's ones that promote joint health, but actually there's really no supplements that really do promote joint health. There's the joint health, like in your knees and your hips and ankles. Yeah, there's a lot of different things out there. They're saying like omega-3s and vitamin B and chondroitin and all those ones that are supposed to help with your joint health, or if you have problems with arthritis, that it's going to make it better. And really, honestly, unfortunately, there really is no truth to that. They've done study after study, and any evidence of it is very, very weak. Really, what you want to do for good joint health is just maintain your activity. I mean, the best way that you can do, like say your knees are bothering, other than a knee replacement, you should just be doing a mix of strength training and aerobic exercise and losing excess weight. That is what's going to be good for your knees. But don't expect a supplement to make your pain go away or to improve your joints, because it just really isn't. They have really no sound evidence that that is the case. So just be aware of these claims, because a lot of them will make it, and there really is no magic in any particular vitamin or combination of vitamins. There is no magic pill, because if there was, we would all be taking it. And so you have to really be careful when you see those claims on supplements. Also, in addition to that, I would say that if you ever decide to take a supplement, you should probably just check with your doctor to make sure. Sometimes medications that you're taking already may interfere. There may be some negative interaction with medicines that you're taking and nutrition supplements, something as simple as a vitamin pill. But you really should check with your physician just to make sure that you're going to be okay with that, given whatever medication you might be on. There was actually, so what are there benefits to taking a supplement? And I would say yes, there can be. There actually was a study, and the report just came out. The study started in 2014, and it was part of the Brigham Women's Hospital and Harvard University. It was funded in part by the National Institute of Health, and they looked at some supplements, and in particular, they particularly looked at Centrum Silver, and they were looking at, does it help with preventing cancer? And they said, not really. They looked at these people over a span of time, and they didn't say that the supplement had any help in preventing cancer. And then they looked at memory and whether memory could be improved from taking a supplement. And they actually did find out that during this study, if there's some solid evidence that taking like Centrum Silver, because that's the one they looked at, it slowed the cognitive decline in older people. So this is actually something they were able to, now they probably need to keep on studying this to make sure that they get continued results. That's part of it. And Centrum Silver must have had some role in this study as well, because that was the vitamin that they looked at. But so it's the Centrum Silver, it's one for age 50 and over. So if you are interested in taking a supplement, there may be some benefit to it, to slowing that cognitive decline that happens as we age. So just something to think about. Definitely, and they said if you were going to take Centrum, make sure that you're actually taking the tablet and not the gummies, because they don't offer the same things. The gummies, what's in the gummies is not in the same thing that's in the capsule or the tablet. Any questions about that? Always make sure to, if you ever are taking a supplement, if you can look on the bottle, there's usually something that says USP, and it's an independent company that looks at the solubility and bioavailability of the supplement, whatever you're taking, vitamins or whatever. It just makes sure that you're getting what it says it is, and that your body's able to absorb it. Because what would be the point of taking something if it just passes right through you? So USP, just look for that on your vitamins if you are taking them, and that will give you kind of an indication of whether it's been kind of approved by this company, this independent company. So something to think about. All right. Let's see. So let's start talking about some of the different micronutrients. We're going to start with calcium. We use calcium is needed for strong bones and teeth. It's needed for muscle contraction, heart rhythm, blood clotting, and it also protects against high blood pressure. So it's important to have it. If you're taking notes, I'll tell you that for those aged 50, and most of the numbers I'm going to tell you today are for people aged 50 and older. 1,200 milligrams a day of what you want to aim for calcium. So what do you think? What food do you think of when I say calcium? If I said you need calcium, what would you go to? Milk. Mm-hmm. Yep. But if you don't like milk, or if you want to get it from other sources, you can also consider yogurt. Swiss cheese, of all the cheeses, it's the highest in calcium. Swiss cheese, yeah. Mm-hmm. Cheddar not too far behind it. So those two, especially Swiss, is aged. It has more time to condense, and it's harder cheese. And so the calcium is retained more than something that's, I don't know, that's more easily to process. Did you know that skim milk actually has more calcium than whole milk? About 25 grams more, actually 30 grams more per 8-ounce serving. So it's better to drink skim milk because you won't have the fat. Nobody really needs to drink whole milk after you're age age 2 and older. So you should really be focusing on the skim, the 1% group. And also cottage cheese is also a big source too. So if you're not a big milk drinker, I'm not really a big fan of milk, but I try to get it from yogurt and other sources. And also there's like the question about the different kinds of milk, like soy milk and almond milk and oat milk, and oh my goodness, every time I turn around there's a different kind of milk. Oftentimes those are supplemented, they're fortified with calcium to make them kind of on equal par with milk. So,
are they good?
Do they taste good?
Are they good for you though, you think?
So the nutrition value, it varies from one, from one to. It's like almond milk isn't as high in protein as cow's milk.
And that's what the doctor told me, that the protein is a little lower.
Right.
And I said, oh, it's wonderful. But the protein is not as much as
right. Yep. And so you really have to look at the label. There's so many milks out there now that it's really like rice milk. Well, rice milk's been around a long time, but you really have to kind of look at the label to see and compare what you're getting, because they can really vary between calcium, protein, and some other different things that are in there. And they may or may not have vitamin D added to it, which we're going to talk about vitamin D in a little bit. But vitamin D is not naturally occurring in cow's milk. Does anybody know the story behind why vitamin D got added to cow's milk? Okay, so way back in the time, this must have been around the Depression time, I think, kids were developing rickets because their diets were very poor in vitamin D, and one of the side effects of deficiency in vitamin D is rickets, which is like your legs are bowed, and especially in places where sunlight is not plentiful, because we do get vitamin D from the sun. So what the government decided to do was that they were going to take the beverage that kids drank all the time, which was milk, and add vitamin D to it to prevent rickets. Now, today, they probably put it in pop or something, or Monster, or whatever kids drink, Gatorade, or whatever kids drink nowadays. They probably wouldn't put it in milk, because I don't think kids drink as much milk today as they did back in the earlier days. But anyway, that's where that all came from. But so some of those other milks, like almond milk and soy milk, may not always have vitamin D added to it, but we do have it in cow's milk.
So if you have like an allergy to milk, all those new things would be okay.
Yes.
They're not really milk.
Yes. Yes.
Wherever they come from.
Yes.
Plant-based,
So if you have a nut allergy, you probably wouldn't want to drink cow's milk, or almond milk. If you have some people are allergic to soy,
you gotta kind of know what the milk is made of.
mm-hmm.
I don't understand how they can do that.
How they milk
How they make how they milk
it takes a long time. There's so little. Yeah.
I have a recipe for making your own almond milk, and it is you soak almonds in water for hours, and then yeah.
And then when you do calcium?
Yeah. Well, Sandie, can you get too much calcium?
You can get too much calcium, and
My doctor told me to stop drinking milk.
Yeah, I mean you can.
Is that?
For a couple of different things, a couple of different reasons. If you're prone to kidney stones, sometimes too much calcium will cause you to have kidney stones. The other thing, if you drink a lot of milk, and we do see this not so much in older people, but in children who love milk, they will drink a lot of milk, and they fill up on milk, and they don't want to eat other things, and it actually can cause iron deficiency in kids. I don't know if it can do it in adults. I guess you'd have to drink a lot of milk for that to happen, but it's possible. But yeah, kidney stones are probably the biggest thing in adults that you wouldn't want to drink like gallons of milk a day. I don't know what the limit would be, but like there would be, if I suppose any more than 3 glasses would probably be.
He didn't want me. I drink chocolate milk. He said, do not drink chocolate.
So it's probably, is it a kidney thing?
He related it to a couple things. You get too much calcium, and I've always had it, because on my blood test it's always high, and sometimes it pops way up. And he says, and I was taking a calcium tablet, because somebody told somebody in my family we should have calcium, and they said, oh no, you don't need that. So you should have, when you go to your doctor and have a blood test, they can run them.
Sure they could, absolutely, yeah.
And they should, huh?
If you're an excessive milk drinker and you're taking calcium, maybe you'd want to have that checked. Especially, you know, if you're having any other problems, if you've ever had kidney problems or your kidney function's ever in question, that would be something you would want to check because that's where it would be filtered through. So I guess we could get too much of anything. It actually is a great segue into my next vitamin or mineral is iron. Iron is one of those minerals that you can get too much of and it's actually toxic. So that's why if you looked at a label of regular Centrum, like I don't know the young people have, and but then the 50 year and older, you'll see that the amount of iron in there is significantly less. There's 18 milligrams in the regular Centrum, but the Centrum Silver is about 8 grams. And that's because as you get older, you really don't need as much iron as you do when you're a kid or when you're a menstruating woman. So your needs for iron go down significantly from age 50 and on. But iron, I'll tell you about its role first. It carries oxygen to the body's cells in the blood. It's needed for cognitive function, immunity, and skeletal muscle functioning. Easy for me to say. But yeah, so definitely, unless your doctor specifically prescribes for you an iron supplement, and sometimes you do. Some people have problems with blood, a bleeding disorder, some things like that. You may have chronic anemia for some reason, and your doctor may prescribe iron for you. But I would be willing to bet he's watching it, or she is watching your iron levels and your blood levels to make sure that you're not getting too much, because it will be stored in the liver, whatever you're not using, and too much of it can actually cause liver damage. So you don't want to just randomly, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to go take an iron supplement. You'd never want to do that because that can be very harmful if you don't need it. And if you do take an iron supplement, if your doctor did prescribe one, my recommendation is take it with some vitamin C, with some orange juice or something that's fortified with vitamin C, because iron and vitamin C together, they work like a lock and key. The vitamin C helps the iron get absorbed into your body, and it's more available and better absorbed and better utilized. So if you are taking an iron supplement, take it with a glass of orange juice. Sources for iron. So this is one of the reasons why sometimes you don't even need to take a multivitamin. If you eat ready-made cereal, like if you eat a bowl of bran flakes for breakfast, or Lucky Charms, or Cheerios, or whatever your go-to breakfast box cereal is, they are very, very heavily fortified with vitamins and minerals. Total has like totally everything in it. So you really want to be careful if you're eating ready-made cereals every day and taking a supplement. It's something to consider, because you might not need a supplement. You're probably getting in a bowl of your cereal every morning for breakfast, because a bowl of cereal, 1 ounce of it can have anywhere from 2 grams to 20 grams. I mean, it's really outrageous. It really is. You have to really look at that. Other sources for iron, and when we think of iron, we think of, what do you think of when I say iron? Liver, yeah. And really any meat. Spinach, yes, that's very good, yeah. Spinach, any red meat is definitely a good source of iron. Any lean beef is going to be a good source. Also, beans, like lima beans and navy beans and lentils. Those are all going to be good sources of iron that we don't really think of. So
how long is it stored in the liver? Say they have liver once a month or something, and it's a lot. Is it going to? How long does it stay in the liver? You say it's stored. Does it eventually?
Yeah, it will eventually.
As the body uses it.
As it's needed, it will be called upon in the liver. But if you chronically, you can eat liver and not have a problem.
I haven't had liver in ages. I love it, but I just got.
And don't be afraid to eat it. If you ate it every day, that would probably be a cause for concern, because that's a lot of iron in it, and it would be stored in your liver, and so yeah, and that could be a problem possibly. But over time, your body would utilize the stores that you have in your liver as it's needed. But I wouldn't be afraid to eat liver. I wouldn't be afraid to eat things like that every once in a while. So yeah, don't worry about it unless you're chronically eating it.
I'm getting hungry for liver. I haven't liver.
You're about the only one. I shouldn't say that. A lot of people like liver. Okay, let's see. So, any other questions about liver? Or, I mean, not liver, iron, or liver, or your liver, or somebody else's liver. All right. So the next one I want to talk about is vitamin D. And the recommendation for people, it actually goes up as you get older. So the older you get, the more you need vitamin D. Age 51 to about 70, you need about what they call 15 micrograms or 6,000 international units. They make it very, very difficult to understand what they're talking about. So if you're 71 or older, you need 20 micrograms or 800 international units IU. You'll see that on the bottle if you look at a supplement.
Now like you're saying, supplements, I get blood work done every year, and my D should be 45, and it was 30, or it was low. So when my dad used to do it, was like a 50,000 unit pill once a week. Well, I tried that, it got me sick. So someone said, I'll just take a couple D pills a day, which I take, it's like 2,000 a day, and my levels shot right where they're supposed to be. So is that a good supplement, or as you're saying?
Yes, actually there has been a lot of studies about what vitamin D does and doesn't do. It's not going to help your joint health. It's not going to help.
Because it helps with the calcium be absorbed in the bones, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Vitamin D and calcium work beautifully together to do all the things that they need to do to strengthen your bones and teeth and all those other good things. But vitamin D is one of those things that you really do need to have in your diet. It's estimated through this study, it's estimated that about 5% of Americans have a vitamin D deficiency, a blood level vitamin D deficiency. And another 18% have inadequate levels of vitamin D in their blood. And it's really tough to get all the vitamin D you need from food because of the sources of it. I mean, unless you drink milk, milk's probably one of the better sources, but it's not the best one. Fish is actually a pretty decent source of vitamin D. Things like halibut, canned salmon, tuna, those are pretty decent sources of vitamin D. There's vitamin D in egg yolk. A lot of people avoid egg yolks as they get older because they're worried about cholesterol. So you'll see that decline. And then again, the lovely Swiss cheese comes back in again. It has a little bit of vitamin D in it. So those are some of the food sources, but it's not real plentiful. Like if you look at something, like, I don't know, vitamin C or vitamin A, you'll find that all over the place. You can get it in so many different sources, and vitamin D just isn't as plentiful in nature. But you do get it from the sun, but
now, if you're wearing sunscreen, does that stop it?
It does.
So I go outside, I'm covered from head to toe, it's like I'm getting no vitamin D.
Right, pretty much. So, yeah. They say, now it depends on the source that you read. They say that, most people, and again, there's always exceptions because there are some people that are on medications that say you should stay out of the sun altogether, and you have to be mindful of that. But for most people, you can be in the sun 10 to 20 minutes at the most without sunscreen on. Expose your arms, your legs for a short period of time, and then go put your sunscreen on. And then, so you got a little bit of vitamin D working, but you're not really exposing yourself to harmful UV rays for too long. So use your good judgment, but always wear sunscreen if you're going to be in the sun for any longer than 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes at the most. It's definitely important. It says though, according to studies, it says taking more than 2,000 international units a day, there's actually, for some reason, and I'm not really quite sure why, because it increased the risk of falls in frail older people. I don't know quite why that is, but it might have something to do with their depth perception or something. I don't know, maybe changing that, but definitely important to make sure you have plenty of vitamin D And whether you get that from your food or supplement, it is important. It really has an impact.
So let's see with the calcium, the doctor said, well, you don't need, because back, they used to say, take your calcium pill, you know, for osteoporosis. And then she said, oh, you don't need to take it. I'm going, I mean, I eat a lot of cottage cheese, but I don't know if I reach that, what do they say, 1,500 or what you said, 1,200, whatever. So I still take them because it's like, I have osteoporosis, so I don't want it to get any worse. And then I take the D, so I'm hoping I got to go for the bone test to see if it's gone up any at all.
Yeah. That is one test that, you know, if you haven't ever had a vitamin D level, a blood level tested, it might be something worth doing, and having that done, asking your doctor about it anyway, just to see where you are. Because if you're low, there's definitely associated with some risk. There's actually some studies, or a study that had been done where if there's a family history, or if you ever have had any autoimmune diseases, you know, things like thyroid problems, MS, lupus, type 1 diabetes, celiac disease, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, these autoimmune diseases, that actually there can be some benefit to taking extra vitamin D if you have ever had these or if you have family members. So it wouldn't hurt to ask for a vitamin D level in your blood level when you go for blood work sometime.
I might not know this. Well, I think thyroid, because my thyroid's low. Now, is that considered thyroid disease, or is thyroid disease something else?
Usually it's like Hashimoto's, so it's more that's more.
Because I'll see something, do not take, you have thyroid disease, and I said, well, you gotta take thyroid, because this is because it's low, not
right.
Hashimoto, right?
Yeah, and those are definitely, and that thyroid disease is definitely caused by autoimmune. Not all thyroid disease is caused by autoimmune disorder, but that one is. So, all right. Anyway, so vitamin D, definitely make sure that you need to get that checked. That would not be a bad idea. Our next one is vitamin B12, and this is an important one for people as you age. It's needed for blood cell formation, metabolism, nerve and thyroid function, and the prevention of heart disease. So vitamin B12, very important. It's recommended at 51 years and older, 2.4 micrograms per day for both men and women. And it's really important for people aged 50 and older to really make sure that they're getting vitamin B12, because one of the things that vitamin B12 needs to have to be functional in your body is it needs your stomach acid to connect with it. It's like a chemical reaction between vitamin B12 and your stomach acid, and it makes it available when it gets to your intestines for absorption. So, but the one thing that happens as we get older is we make less stomach acid, so there's less available to do this job on the vitamin B12, and so you actually have to take in a little bit more to make sure that we're compensating for maybe less stomach acid that you have, and making sure that it becomes available to your body. So,
What foods are good for that?
So, what good foods are? It's a good question. So, good sources for vitamin B12. Again, we're looking at fish. We're looking at canned salmon, and really any kind of meat is going to be your main source for vitamin B12. People who are vegan actually are at risk for having a vitamin B12 deficiency because it's really found in animals and animal products. So really, like the highest one is like tuna and salmon. The canned fish is really high in that. Some of the lesser sources would be pork, but it still has vitamin B12 in it. But people, and see, there's some in milk, but people who are vegan, who don't have any animal products at all, usually have to actually get a vitamin B12 shot because it can definitely have an impact on their nutrition, health. So, one for you to remember, one to think about. The next one is vitamin A, and that's needed for vision, night vision in particular. Eat your carrots so you can see in the dark, right? Wasn't that the old thing?
Yeah.
It's also needed for immunity, and it's needed for your bones, your teeth, and nerve development. Vitamin A, recommendation, 900 micrograms for men, 700 micrograms for women. And where do you think, besides carrots, Can you think of any other sources of vitamin A? What would you think of when you hear vitamin A?
Carrots.
Carrots, other than carrots?
The squash, it's orange.
Yes, so really anything that's orange, any fruit or vegetable that's orange is going to be a pretty good source of vitamin A. Think of sweet potatoes, think of cooked carrots, think of cantaloupe, think of things like that. So anything orange. So when you're looking in the produce section, try to go for a rainbow of different colors because they're going to all offer different things. So all your yellows and oranges and reds and greens and purples, and those are all going to give you different things. So you always want to make sure you get a nice variety of fruits and vegetables. But most of your orange vegetables and fruits are good sources of vitamin A, as is liver. It's a great source for vitamin A because it gets stored in the liver. And again, too much vitamin A would actually cause problems too. And when I say that, again, don't worry about eating liver. Don't worry if you like to eat sweet potatoes every day, and you know what I mean. You're not going to. It's not going to impact. It would be if you took a supplement, just a vitamin A supplement, and you ate all these other foods. Then there could be a problem. But by and large, you don't have to worry. Eat plenty of cantaloupe and sweet potatoes and carrots and all that stuff. Sweet red peppers are also another good source of vitamin A. So eat it, and because it's definitely the chances of you having a problem with it are very, 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 very slim, unless you were taking like a specific supplement of it. Our next one is vitamin C, and that promotes wound healing. It's an antioxidant. It helps iron become available for use in the body. Remember I said if you're taking a vitamin or an iron supplement, take pregnancy with it. And it also supports immunity. It doesn't make immunity, it just helps to support it. It is one of the components in building up a strong immune system. But you will see supplements that says, you know, needed for immunity, and just because vitamin C is a part of that, they can say that, you know, a supplement boosts your immunity, and that's not necessarily true. So 75 milligrams for men, 90 for women. What's the most obvious place for vitamin C? What do you think of? Oranges, orange juice, yep. But not just that, also sweet peppers, strawberries, broccoli, pineapple. Most fruits have some vitamin C in them, most of them, not all of them. But so those are, you can never go wrong with that. Next one is vitamin E. And vitamin E protects against free radicals, the things that go around in your blood and can cause nasty things like cancer. It helps to protect those. It's an anticoagulant. It protects against cataract formation, so it's really good for your eyes. And the recommendation is 15 milligrams a day for men and women. Some of the best sources for vitamin E are nuts, like sunflower seeds and almonds are very good for vitamin E. Even something that you wouldn't expect, tomato sauce, a half a cup of tomato sauce is going to be a really decent source of vitamin E. Olive oil is another good source. You'll often see vitamin E added to like to prevent macular degeneration and things like that as well. The next one is vitamin K.
May I ask a question?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
What oil is a good oil to buy?
Whoa, so this is a very complex answer to this question. So what is the best oil? And I would say that I think different oils give you different things, so there really isn't just one particular oil. Definitely olive oil is great for salad dressings, for it's not really good to cook in or like to cook eggs. No, you could cook eggs in it because eggs cook really quick. But if you wanted something that you needed to have at a high heat, something that you were like, say you were pan frying something, you wouldn't really want to use olive oil because olive oil has a very low smoke point, and that's when the oil starts to break down and get rancid. So if you really wanted to crispy up fry something or stir fry something, you're better off with a peanut oil or canola oil or some other kind of oil that can take the heat. But olive oil is definitely very, very good first choice oil, but it has its limitations. Some people just have preferences, and there's a lot of misinformation about canola oil out there saying that it's harmful, and I don't know that I necessarily buy that. I think that it's you can use just regular vegetable oil, any of the other oils, as long as they're a liquid oil.
How about Crisco?
Okay, so Crisco is any fat that is solid at room temperature. If I were talking to you about this 10 years ago, I would say that the worst thing about Crisco is that it has a lot of trans fat in it, and that's really, really, really harmful to your body. It actually helps create, cholesterol, clogs your arteries, literally clogs your arteries. And they got rid of trans fats in most everything, in margarine and Crisco. They make it trans fat or virtually trans fat free now, so that it's not as harmful as it used to be, but still there's a lot of saturated fat, because when any fat that is solid at room temperature is going to be a source of saturated fat. And saturated fat also raises your cholesterol levels, and you want to avoid that. That's a fat that you really should keep limited very, very, very strictly in your diet. I know that's what we use for like making pie crusts and things like that. But any fat that's solid at room temperature, that would be Crisco, lard, or even ones that you don't really even think about, like the little flecks you see in salami or pepperoni, that's a saturated fat. It's solid at room temperature. If you trim your roast before you put it in the oven, that's a good thing, because what you're trimming off is saturated fat, solid at room temperature. So you always have to remember that that's the kind of fat that's going to raise your blood cholesterol levels, and that's really, really what you need to avoid. It's really important to stay away from that. We know now enough to know, and that never has changed, that animal fats like that raise blood cholesterol levels, and they're very harmful. So limit those. Choose lean meats. That's why I say choose lean meats, and that's why.
I had a jar, I think it was canola oil. I thought, okay, it's supposed to be good. But once I opened it, I don't know if you're supposed to refrigerate it, but I always worry about oil turning rancid because I don't use it a lot. I stuck it in the refrigerator, and now it's all hard.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
If I take it out,
it will.
softer.
Yep.
I've kept my vegetable oil in the refrigerator, and it never turned hard.
I've never put my oil in the refrigerator. I always keep it at room
I
temperature.
hardly ever use it, so it's like, is it still good? Because
Yeah, it is still good. And if you took it out and let it just get to room temperature, it would turn back to liquid again. It would be fine. Yeah, I always make the Good Seasons dressing, and I make it with olive oil, and I put it in the refrigerator, and it gets all solid and chunky, and then I just, it comes 15 minutes, sitting out, it's fine, it's liquid again, it's good to go. So, yeah, it happens. That's fine, not a problem. All right, wow, we got off on that a little bit, but that's okay, that's good. I like questions. No, you're good. I love questions. Did that answer it well enough?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next one, we're almost done. We have just a few more. Vitamin K. Vitamin K is needed for blood clotting. It's needed for calcium metabolism and bone formation. So really important for men, 120 micrograms, women, 90 micrograms. This is one that you really need to be careful of or mindful of if you are on any blood thinning medications like warfarin, Coumadin. You have to really watch your vitamin K intake. And you work with your doctor, and I'm sure if you're on Coumadin, you know all about it. But if you're not on any blood thinners like Coumadin, then it doesn't matter. You're good. You're good to have it. But if you are, definitely you want to be mindful of that. Sources for vitamin K are quite plentiful. If you like to eat fruits and vegetables, cooked spinach, or regular spinach, any kind of spinach, broccoli, green leaf lettuce, leafy greens, any kind of leafy greens, blueberries are a great source of vitamin K, peas, so all kinds of really good things. Think of a good salad, and you're going to get plenty of your vitamin K. Yes?
Should you eat these raw or cooked? Doesn't cooking take away some of the benefits sometimes of certain fruits and vegetables?
Yes, so I would say for most all fruits and vegetables, cooking will definitely take away some of the vitamins and minerals, without a doubt. Freezing them and reheating them, all of that takes away some of the vitamin and minerals in vegetables and fruits and other things. So yes, that's true. One of the exceptions might be tomatoes when you turn them into tomato sauce or like spaghetti sauce or tomato paste or diced tomatoes. Or the canning process actually helps to bring out a nutrient called lycopene, which is really good for men and help preventing prostate cancer. It actually helps to enhance the vitamin C availability in cooked tomato products. That's probably the exception to the rule. Would be like the tomato is probably healthier when it's cooked than it is when it's raw. It's just more condensed and it's definitely more bioavailable to you. But yes, so like definitely you, and you know the other thing that affects it is where the produce came from. If your produce came from Mexico or Guatemala or you know wherever, I don't know, wherever they come from in the wintertime, we don't get nice fresh local, we don't live in California, you know, we don't have fresh stuff available to us all the time. You know, the storage and the transfer, that time it loses in the transfer and in the storage, you lose vitamins and minerals. So always buy local, support your local farmers in the summertime, buy as much local produce as you possibly can because you are getting the best of the best. You know, go out and pick your strawberries and come home and eat them because you're getting the best of the best. You are getting primo vitamins and minerals right there. Anything that you can grow yourself or buy locally grown, you're getting the best of the best. Now, probably the second best sometimes is frozen vegetables because they are farm fresh picked and they're processed usually within a day or two, and then you're getting this. It's kind of like quick seal. You're getting it. It's frozen. You take it out. So I think frozen vegetables are actually a pretty decent option over canned. There's usually no added sugars or sodium or anything else added to them when they're frozen like that. So it's always a good choice, second choice.
Well, what's your opinion of organic vegetables, fruits, whatever, eggs?
This is another. We could have a whole class on this. But I will say, I don't think that organic fruits and vegetables are any more packed with any vitamins and minerals. Really, all you're getting is the lack of pesticides. So that's important to some people. They feel very strongly about that. But sometimes the organic fruits and vegetables have been grown in California or somewhere, and by the time they get here, they may not be all that much better than anything else, and you're paying a high price for them. I mean, and there are certain things that are probably better to buy organic than to buy standard. Like things like the fruits and vegetables that really absorb the pesticides, like things like strawberries and spinach. Those I think are two of the ones that are the highest that absorb the pesticides the most. So if you're going to buy organic, you might want to really think about ones that absorb the most and consider buying those. And then maybe not so much things like bananas or pineapple, or things that, you know, you're peeling the skin and didn't really get absorbed. So, you know, keep that in mind if you're trying to decide whether you want to buy organic. Think about what kind of product it is and how you use it.
Well, some of them are so much more expensive.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Thank goodness for all these. They have some good stuff there. All right. Almost done. But two more. Next one is magnesium. Magnesium is needed for normal muscle contraction, nerve transmission and function, your heart rhythm. It's needed for metabolism and for bone growth. So the recommendation for men 51 and older, 420 milligrams. Women, 320 milligrams of magnesium. If you get too much magnesium, you'll know because usually, you know, milk of magnesia, what that will do, that's what's in there is magnesium. So getting too much will usually give you like diarrhea. So you'll know when you got too much. But food sources are pretty plentiful in, again, most cereals, ready-to-eat cereals, your Cheerios, whatever, is going to be a good source. Fish, like halibut, is a great source. Almonds, cashews, finally cashews. Everybody loves cashews. They're a really good source for magnesium. Most nuts are good sources for magnesium. Black beans, lima beans, brown rice, those are all good sources for magnesium. And then finally, last but not least, we're going to talk about folate or folic acid. It's the same thing. however you hear it or however you read it. It's needed for your hemoglobin production and metabolism, and amino acid metabolism. It protects against heart disease. I'll just say that. It's easier to say. And it's just really, really important throughout your lifespan, especially for pregnant women. And then actually as you get older too, just to make sure that your blood levels are normal in hemoglobin. 400 micrograms a day for men and women. Again, one of the greatest sources for it is your ready-made cereals, and probably mostly because it's all fortified with all a bunch of stuff. Also spinach, rice, peas, orange juice, these are all good. So as you can see, oftentimes just getting a variety of foods in your diet, meats, vegetables, fruits, some kind of dairy, you're going to really encompass everything you need. So try to always get your vitamins and minerals from food first, and then consider a multivitamin if you think that would work for you. And that's my advice for you today. Do you have a question?
I just got a couple things here.
Okay.
If you take a supplement or you start eating the fruits or vegetables that contain these, how long before you see a benefit, and what's your take on fish oil?
Okay, ooh, that's a lot. All right, so how long it takes to see a benefit really depends on a lot of things. It depends on how maybe depleted you were in the beginning, what it is. Sometimes, you'll take it in right away. It's hard to say. Usually right away, your body will start to appreciate it, but you need, a few days worth before you'll actually see some benefit. Like if your iron was low, it would take several days for that to get built back up, because your blood, just because you took a supplement and then poof, it's all better. It does take days for the formation of the blood cells and everything to occur. So you definitely need some time for, you need days to weeks to really see a benefit or difference. Just because you took 20,000 milligrams of vitamin D doesn't mean your vitamin D levels will be normal. It takes time, it takes consistency, and so that's all, part of it. And then fish oil. Okay, so.
My husband swears by it, and I just, you think it's wonderful.
So they came out, I don't know how many years ago it's been a long time now that they're recommending fish oil. And the evidence on it, it's just not, if you're taking it for like heart health, the evidence is pretty weak. They really thought in the beginning that there were some small trials that were done that showed some promise, but it's not the end all be all. It's not a magic bullet. There's no harm in taking it per se. But I don't think that you're going to necessarily get a whole lot, like what you think you are from it. The protection that that they once thought that would help. Because when people had heart disease back in the early 90s, that would be one of the things that the doctor would always prescribe. Start taking fish oil supplements. Well, but we live and we learn, and we learned that maybe it isn't really as beneficial as we thought it was. Who knew?
I think an example is with the baby aspirin. I mean, the latest study is that
Yes. Yeah.
you really don't need to be taking the aspirin unless.
Yeah. Well, I would tell you, back when I first became a dietitian many years ago, there was talk that you should use margarine instead of butter. And we found out margarine is way worse than butter, because margarine not only has saturated fat, it has trans fats in it too. So we live and we learn, and we study and we learn and we grow, and we try to stay aware as much as possible of what's going on.
Some about Eskimos eat a lot of fish, and so it's fish oil, and they don't have heart disease supposedly. So
Yeah.
is that where it started?
I think that it is where
So
it
we all
started.
just eat fish. Well, yeah, we wouldn't have heart disease.
You have to really be really careful of just taking one thing and saying that's it, because it's oftentimes more than one thing.
Everything goes
It's
together.
diet, it's lifestyle, it's what you eat, what you don't eat, how much you move, what you do, what your heredity, what your family history is. It's not, it's really, really, don't ever get sold by any one thing because there really isn't any one thing that's going to make you healthier. Not only one thing that's going to prevent cancer or Alzheimer's disease. It's a combination of many things. And honestly, your best bet is a diet that has variety, balance. Exercise is so important. Lose weight if you need to lose weight. Those things are going to be the key. You know, keep active, keep your brain active, keep your body active. Those are the key things. And hopefully you're already doing a lot of that.
Yeah, they advertise a new, some kind of veggie vitamin. Get all your vitamins in 5 minutes. And it's like, I just start laughing.
Yes.
It's like,
And you should just laugh.
And they're really expensive too, so, you know.
Veggie vitamin?
Yeah.
Veggie vitamin.
Yeah.
I don't know what, it was something, it's just started advertising. It's like, in 5 minutes, get all the vitamins you need without eating the vegetables. And I'm thinking, yeah, right.
Yeah, and you know, with a supplement too, I mean, you don't get everything that's in there. When you take a vitamin supplement, you're only going to absorb so much of it. You know, you're not getting every little thing that's in there because it's really hard to your body to absorb it all as it's passing through a lot of times. And if you like some parts of it, if you don't need it, it'll just get eliminated in your stool or your urine. So you don't always get everything that's in a pill. So
the big hype today is talking about gut health.
oh, yeah.
They're talking about all the seeds we should be eating, the chia seeds and flax seeds and hemp heart seeds.
Oh yeah, that'll just, you know, these things come and go, you know.
So I can still go to McDonald's?
John, you ask me this every time. What do I
Every
tell
time,
you?
I know I go to McDonald's and get a number of